Welcome to RNR Podcast, or The Adventures of Riand and Rich.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another adventure with R&R Does Stuff, where today we go on different adventures. We're normally adventuring together. What happened?
I know, Ryan. That was so weird that we were both adventuring different places. But, sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder, is all I can
This,
say.
this is true. This
I
is true.
I had a local con here in the DFW area, VCF Southwest. So for the folks, we're going to talk about Ryan's adventure first and then get to my adventure. Mine was definitely retro computer related. Ryan, your adventure had nothing to do with computers.
No, there definitely weren't, other than like digital signage or some other things that make our adventure a little bit better. But my wife, Larry, yes, Larry is real, and Craig, we all went to the Origins Game Fair in Columbus, Ohio. It was
Dude,
great.
was this the 50th?
This was the 50th.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. What was
Yes.
the attendance like? Was it higher than normal?
It felt like last year,
Okay.
and I think last year was around 18,000 or so. So there were people. Saturday, where there was definitely more people, but it wasn't packed. It was actually nice. From an attendee perspective, I don't know how the vendors were feeling, but from an attendee perspective, it was nice. You could get around, no big deal. There were people around, which is cool as activity, but it wasn't a crush of people, if that makes sense.
It does.
It
It
was,
does. Definitely compared to 70,000 at Gen Con. It is
yes,
that's a much smaller number.
yeah, it's a smaller convention center, but it is also a much smaller number of people, and it just felt more spread out, and you could get around, you could see stuff, we walked through the vendor hall. It was a good time. It just generally was relaxing. Our schedule wasn't packed, but we had events every day.
Dude,
We had one.
what were some of these events?
Well, we had one sad event, unfortunately. So I'm gonna start with the sad, and then we'll move on to the happy stuff.
Oh no.
We were all signed up for a Lego Dungeons and Dragon event. Unfortunately, they all got canceled. So we don't know what happened. He had sold like 120 tickets for this thing, and they all got canceled. So I don't know if he couldn't make it, or the group didn't make it, or something happened, but we were super looking forward to it, and that was going to be our kickoff game.
I am just going to say, I hope no one was injured. I hope no one had
Correct.
car problems. I hope that maybe it was just a life scheduling issue.
Yep.
Just like I remember running events sometimes and no one showed up because a party bought all my tickets for an event and then
Yes.
they didn't make it. So it's a bigger impact when the game master doesn't make it. But I'm sorry to hear that, bro. That sounded like it
Yeah.
would be fun.
Yeah. We were all really looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be neat. Don't know what it was about, or other than Lego and Dungeons and Dragons. So we had some assumptions. So, oh well, that was just kind of that was a little bit of a bummer. But overall, um, Origins was fun. We then moved into we had an escape room on Wednesday, actually, right before. We did not make it out of the room.
Oh, we're really good at puzzles, right?
Oh yeah, uh-huh. Yep, yep. It was challenging. They told us that only like 5 or 10% of the people actually make it out of this room.
Whoa!
Yeah, we apparently we got like the hardest one they had or something like that. So don't feel bad. We made it into we just got the third room open to get some other stuff, and they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. Some people don't even make it out of the first one.
Wow. Well,
It's
good
like,
job, guys.
yeah, so we felt pretty good about it when they told us that. So that was good. Amy and I did some Scooby Doo and Zombie Mall Madness. It's a homebrew by
Well, fun.
there. We did it last year as well. It was great. Larry and Craig went off to do some D&D, and then we went into True Dungeon.
Yes.
True Dungeon is back at Origins. They had one run. one adventure. Like, Gen Con has two or three sometimes. They just have way more space. But here we had True Dungeon. There was all of us and a couple other folks. We got there a little late, as we normally do sometimes, and I didn't get the Ranger, but that's okay.
Okay. Did you play the Bard?
No, I was doing the Elf Wizard.
Okay. Everyone, I play the Bard.
You do. You are a good Bard. Amy played the Bard on one of our runs.
Good.
So I think that was the next day she did the Bard. But we had a good time. I ended up with the Elf Wizard both times during the run.
Fireball.
And we did some True Grind.
Oh, I remember True Grind. That really is a grind.
Do you remember when they had all the little different monsters on things and you slid them off after you defeated them?
Yes.
They have totally changed it. It is so much cooler. They have 3 GMs in there. They had 2 tables set up, overhead projector onto the shuffleboard, so it's actually they could just hit a button and just change what monster it is.
Oh, that's using technology to make things more fun and faster.
Oh, yeah, so much faster. So you had a GM on each board, and you had a central GM that was giving story flavor and helping out where it needed to help out. If you needed to do like a skill check or whatever, you could go do that. And the difference with True Grind is it's a little more of D&D, where you have to do a little bit of imagination somewhat, because you're not moving from room to room. You're staying in the same room, right? So that's a thing. But they had a little chart up on the side. You are now in room 1, and they flipped the thing up. You're in room 2, whatever. It was really, really cool. And they projected some stuff on the boards, like something coming at us. So we could actually see some black and white pictures.
Oh, that is really cool. They've stepped that game up a lot since the last time we played.
Yeah, they did. And they had some story going on. They had the guy doing the story stuff was really, really good. So there was a story arc to go with it. Super happy with. It was way more fun than I expected. We got out of some of the puzzles by our wizard there making some good choices. And then we actually had to go do something in the room. And if we did that, we got through the room without having to fight the monster. We did that twice. And some of the rooms were multiple monsters. It was really cool. This was way better than what I expected.
Dude, they elevated their game on True Grind. 100%. Yeah. This sounds exciting to play.
It was really, really cool. We then you got like the stack of chips at the end. So you got a lot of stuff. You don't get experience level you as a human up, but it was a really good experience. And yeah, I was super happy with that. And they don't do True Grind at like Gen Con.
No.
I'm glad we did it. So that was awesome. We did we've done the magic show before where you got Sarah in on the show. We went back to the magic show here. Same guy's doing it here that does it at Gen Con. It was pretty cool. We had a good time. He does it for a charity. Unfortunately, he clicked the wrong button when they set up, so the upcharge didn't happen. So we just donated the money. He's like, if you want to, this should have been an extra $20.
Oh.
So we just scanned the thing and we just donated the $40. So just Amy and I went. Craig and Larry were off doing some D&D again. But it was really, really good. He had a different show than before. He's been doing really well there. So I'm super happy with that. So that was a great vibe as well. Again, Amy and I jumped off a little bit because Origins is doing a little more entertainment vibe to it. And this year is sort of Doctor Who themed.
Oh.
So we had Sophie, she plays Ace, and Sylvester McCoy were there for Doctor Who, and also John Barrowman, Doctor Who, Torchwood, and Arrow. Captain Jack. They were amazing. Amy and I just did those. Larry and Craig went off to go play D&D, which is phenomenal.
This seems to be a theme. When you're not doing stuff with them, they're off playing D&D.
Yeah, they did a lot of RPGs. They got some 5e in there. I think they did a 1e adventure. They got some different things in there. So it was pretty good. Really.
Larry did text me. he was really sad there was no 4th edition at Origins. Just FYI.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he was super bummed about that, so that's pretty good. Yeah. I mean, this has been great. Both of those panels were really good. Sylvester McCoy did a panel by himself the day before on Friday, overlapped with my True Grind, but Amy wasn't playing True Grind anyway, so she went off to the panel.
Oh,
and
good.
she said it was really, really good.
Were their panels free or were they pay to enter?
They were free. Origins is different than Gen Con. You buy the ticket, the badge, and not all, but most of the events were free.
Yeah.
You didn't have to pay another $2 for every 2 hours, so that's like a different paradigm. So it's good and bad, right? So there's no incentive to show up, and I guess the GMs might get hurt a little bit if you don't show up and turn in the coupon.
Yeah,
they get dinged a little bit, so that's unfortunate. But as an attendee, made my life pretty easy. And we were like, yeah, we'll do that. We all went to stand-up comedy. Craig didn't go. He wasn't his back and knee
take a break.
Bothered him. Yeah, he took a break. But we went to the stand-up comedy. It was pretty good at 3 acts. Mostly the first 2 were very nerd focused because it was like the Origins nerd comedy stand-up thing, whatever.
Oh, it makes sense.
Yeah, so they did really well. The headliner was more targeting about getting old. Okay. So being in your 50s and stuff has changed and things like that.
Which does kind of make sense for Origins too. I wonder what their demographics are.
I don't know. We actually liked the earlier ones talking about the nerd stuff, more about getting older, a little bit better.
Yeah, what was the general? I'm sorry. Go on. I'm sorry.
And it was going pretty quick. And then it was like Sunday. It's like, what happened?
I know.
Where did the time go? You know? The general vibe, I think that's what you were hitting at.
Yeah, I was wondering based on age. What was the vibe around there based on age? I mean, we just kind of touched on it's generally older people at Origins, but I kind of just said that. That may not be true.
There seemed to be a big wide range of, there were not just older people. There were what we saw. It was a very good demographic.
Good.
And including male and female.
Excellent.
So it's 20 years ago, it was mostly us guys hanging out. And now there's a much more balanced male-female population as well. So that was actually really cool. It really looked like they were having a good time. I didn't really see anything that was really grumpy or anything.
I'm glad. How was the food situation? That always gets me at Gen Con, that I have to spend 20 minutes waiting to get something out of a food truck. How was the food situation for you out there?
Oh, you have North Market, which is still across the street, which was there last year. We didn't realize it. They're building this big high-rise between the convention center and North Market.
Oh, wow.
So nuked the parking lot for North Market, but they left North Market, so that's kind of cool. So you can still walk around it. We went over there one day. Larry went over a couple days, so that was good. We ate at a restaurant that's in Columbus. One day it was like organic hamburgers and then bison, normal burgers, and wagyu. I think that's how you say it.
Wagyu. I think it's wagyu.
I think so. That Japanese.
Tell us down below. Use a pronunciation guide. Leave a comment.
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. So we did that. We ate at the food court a lot. There's a food court right below the Hyatt.
Oh, I love the little food court.
Yes. I probably ate more pizza than I should have. Jet's Pizza is out in Columbus. You know how in Gen Con we have hot box pizza? Mm-hmm. Jet's Pizza is in Columbus area. Excellent pizza. We were super excited. For me, it's non-dairy. My wife can't do gluten. They had non-gluten pizza there.
Oh, excellent.
We really enjoyed it.
The food court was able to give you accommodations on your dietary needs.
Yes.
That's crazy, dude. That's just crazy, dude. What a great time. Because it's really easy just to jump down there and get something and jump out. And as I mentioned, every time I've been, you wait behind 4 people. If not, you're the one that walks up. I mean, it's never super long lines. Probably if you go right at noon or 12:30.
Yes. We had some waits on some more popular times. The Siam Express, the Chinese place is there. It's been there forever. I did Fame's Diner in the morning. Loved Fame's Diner. I mean, it took a little bit of time, but I'm watching them and they're cooking. I'm doing a Western omelet and they're actually cooking all of the veggies and adding the eggs and stuff to it. They actually did a really good job. The Chinese was good as normal. Uh, You
Dude,
know, it was great.
dude, did you go to the place?
The plate. Oh, we did Ted's.
Oh yeah. Look at everyone, Ryan. Everyone look at Ryan. I go, did you go to the place? And he acts like he doesn't know what I'm talking about. Ted's.
Oh yeah, that was a Wednesday night. We got in there. Yeah, we definitely went to Ted's. Got some bison. Goodness, great dinner. Always love going to Ted's. It's
That's kind of
Ted.
the thing. That's kind of the thing. I remember I've had a bison steak, I had a bison burger, and I've had their bison meatloaf. And
Yes.
everything's been good every time I've had it there.
Oh yeah, they're a smaller chain. So there's one here. There's two here in the DC metro area. But we'll go to them whenever we can because they're just good. I mean, they're goodness. Yeah, that was like the place. We didn't do the any barbecue out of the area or have to drive anywhere. We just didn't feel like driving. But Ted's was great. Yeah, it was an awesome
Dude,
time.
hold on. You're forgetting one game that I hope you guys got to play.
We did. The last couple years we've been ending on King of Tokyo, a giant King of Tokyo. Yeah, Yellow quit doing it, and this group got their big King of Tokyo guys, and they run it, and we're just having fun. So we played some King of Tokyo, and it was like us four, and then like this other family was there as well. So it was like, mom and son had the tickets. The dad was there just kind of helping out. I think it was the same family that played with us last year, weirdly. But he said though this year he's actually taller than the King of Tokyo guys. Last year, I guess he was not. It was really fun. It was good. It's a good dice rolling, just having a good party game kind of thing. Amy sniped Space Penguin from me. It's okay.
Your own wife
I
betrayed
don't
you.
mind.
She betrayed you.
It's fine. She wanted him last year,
I
and
don't
I
know if
sniped
it's
it
fine.
from her, so it was okay. So she sniped Space Penguin from me, which is cool. I got Cyber Kitty.
Okay.
So Cyber Kitty was pretty cool. We had some, we were pretty heavily combat oriented. Again, you can win through victory points. Some people were in the low teens when the game actually ended, but we're going through. I'm in Tokyo, and it's like, oh man, I'm down to 3 life. I'm out. So we keep going around. Sometimes I'm healing up a little bit, and next thing we know, combat is just happening. The DM said he's never seen so many people try to do combat and roll so few attack dice.
Everybody's missing.
Everybody's missing. So Craig went all in. He got kicked out. He was the first one out. Larry's got the power up card, so he's doing an extra point of damage. He can't hit anything. He was next one out, I believe. The kid was trying to kill his mom. She said that's been happening all week or all day. We're all down at the end. The last, I think, round or two, we're all within 2 or 3 life. We have 2 or 3 life.
Ooh.
We can't kill anything. Next thing, Amy gets killed. I'm down to 1. Larry's in there. It came to between Larry and I. He's down to 3. I'm at 1, or he's at 2. Anyway, he might have been at 2. He can't roll anything. I'm still alive. I get 1 attack on him. He's still alive, but I rolled 4 hearts.
Oh, nice.
I'm like, do I try to just kill him or am I gaining life? Well, down to the third roll, it was just like a point value. I have a card to spend an energy to re-roll a die, re-roll the point value die, and it's the last claw that I needed. So I got the 4 life and killed him. And King of Tokyo.
Again, King of Tokyo. Again.
Highly recommend it.
Yes, that is awesome. And what, they say the best defense is a good offense. So
Correct.
That is where you went. You followed sound strategy. Dude, congratulations. King of Tokyo, another year in a row. Did they hand out any plushies this year, or was it just bragging rights?
It was bragging rights. So it's not, Yellow doesn't run them anymore, so they don't give out anything.
Just curious if that other group did, whether they kept that tradition alive.
Nah, they're just, it's free to play, so it's like totally great. We just had a good time. I think they were keeping track of, because they took a picture of the scorecard, that little dry erase board.
Yeah.
It was a good time. We had a lot of fun. There we are, walking past everything, because it's all the way at the other end of the convention center. Feeling a little sad as I'm looking into the rooms.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of a later event this year, so we got home later, but we drive.
There's always next year. There's always next year, and I hope to join you next year in Origins. That seems.
I hope so.
That seems to 18,000 people. Holy smokes! Yes, I tell you what.
Fun.
So I am glad you got that all taken care of, and you're back home safe and sound. You drove instead of flying, so that was a long time with idiots on the road. So I'm glad you're back home.
There were some of those. Luckily, our car Serenity drove some of it for us.
Yeah,
because she did some of the self-drive.
Super Cruise
Go. It's about a 400-mile drive from our house, so it was a drive. We had a couple charge stops in the way. Well, most of them 2 out of the 3, we just we grabbed something to eat while we were charging.
Yeah.
We didn't need to charge that much, but with the heat warning, and I am ultra conservative of not being in the middle of nowhere without a charger.
He is.
Yeah, I am. I'm like, I'm not ready.
Smartly so.
And like the one stop, we were only there 10 minutes. I just needed a little bit more. Went in at the pilot, do bio break, grab a drink. So it worked out pretty well. It was a good trip. I hope you can make it next year.
Yeah.
It's already on my calendar.
It's I need to go put it on mine and make sure it sticks there. So yes, that was, and I'm glad your trip went really well. Mine went well and not well. So for the listeners that have been around for years, you'll know that I seem to miss VCF Southwest every year, whether it's a back injury or I'm sick. I've had both of those items crop in the way.
Yeah, what happened this year, man?
This year, Friday, great. Talking to my boss, hey, I got this thing, with the old computers. He goes, yeah, I know, you're weird. And, it's kind of slow. I was just thinking about taking a half a day. He said, yeah, go. And so I went down Friday, got down there right away. First time going to where it's at. So I know UTD, University of Texas, Dallas. I know where it's at. Back in my AV days, we sold stuff to them a bunch. So I knew the spot, but I didn't know the exact building they're talking about. So I got it on the GPS. I'm driving in. Man, what great wayfinding. Even on my way in, there's some little VCF Southwest signs. And you can just follow those without even GPS. You would have got to where you needed to be. Great parking.
Awesome.
They had a parking garage right beside it. Now, my truck, I parked there the first day. It was a little big. It was a little tight. So the second time I went into the open lot, which was a little bit more room, a little bit longer of a walk. But when I say a longer walk, dude, you walked longer from your hotel to get wherever you wanted, right? So it was still very convenient. And I thought about, as you just mentioned, the heat range, about you guys getting the heat dome up there. They pick a great weekend for this too, according to dates. The temperature is it's 80s. It's 80s that are coming off of 70 evenings, 60 evenings. So it's a really comfortable day. But anyways, I get all parked up. So nice. Great place, great parking, great time frame. I'm coming down out of the parking garage. I'm there 1 hour, maybe 30 minutes after it opened, maybe 30 minutes after it opened, right?
Mhm.
Already people with boxes coming towards me.
Wow.
So they had just opened, and there's already people walking towards me with boxes, bringing their treasures back to their vehicle. So
Wow.
that's a great sign. I get inside, get checked in. They had the big free tables there. That might be the only, if I had to think really honestly of one critique, they put the free tables right across from the check-in.
Oh,
And
okay.
so it made a bunk of people, a bunch of people over on the one side of the hall that kind of went out into the hallway. And then there's
Sure.
your check-in. And so you kind of were like, where am I going? What am I doing? But it easily worked out. Got my badge. And I had a show I had a panel I wanted to see. So
Okay.
I enjoyed walking around, and I did that cursory first run through and
Mhm.
just kind of looked at what everything that was going on. I hit a few tables early. I noticed when I came back that they weren't completely set up on Friday, just because, dude, it takes time to get stuff done, right? It does.
100%. Oh,
And
yeah.
so, and then I did the same thing I've done to you 5 times before. Whenever I go to one of the meetups, there's not a lot of Commodore Amiga. It's because Commodore Amiga was more on the East Coast, Rich. And I did the same question to you again. Lots of DOS-based machines, lots of
Sure.
TI-based items. Not much Commodore and Amiga, so I snuck by some of those areas. And I tell you, the thing that I noticed that was different when I think of VCF East, a lot more sales going on at the tables. So you have the
Oh, yeah.
consignment room at VCF East. There's no consignment room.
Right.
So it's all at the tables. And so it makes for some really full tables. I have to
Yeah.
say, I think when we go to our next show, it might be like this show, whereas East, I think, has this worked out a little differently. We'll see the next VCF we go to, whether it kind of emulates what I saw or whether it does kind of what we saw from VCF East. But getting the consignment room taken care of makes more table space for people.
Yes.
Because, boy, if you go to the Facebook page, you're going to see what I saw. Some tables were overflowing with goodness. There was so many treasures to be had. And, man, everything from Palm Pilot people, small little laptop people. It was amazing. And they've definitely grown from what I understand from last year.
Oh, good.
The main hall is kind of like a college where they break down the walls and you can make 3 rooms into 1 room, but they're big rooms.
Yeah.
And dude, it's packed and it's loud. And Usagi was in there, but then you leave that room and in the hallway you see 8-Bit Guy. So they started putting tables up in the hallways between places and between locations. And they had a room dedicated to the mini disc because I guess MDCon was happening at the same time as VCF Southwest. So they had a classroom full of mini disc. And it's the folks that love and passion with that. So it was a lot going on. The bad news, that was Friday. I woke up Saturday. Someone's knocking on my door, dude.
Oh, no. What did you do?
I get my robe on. I answered the door. I had scheduled some guys to work on my backyard next weekend. They showed up a weekend early. So I just wasn't aware. We were totally scheduled. And so they're at the door. They're like, hey, we're going to start in the backyard. So I spent all day with them. So Saturday became, I was with the guys getting all the work done. And dear listener, if you saw what happened to my backyard this weekend, you would realize how much work was involved. So Saturday, they did all their jazz. And I just wrapped up and did not go to VCF. They closed up at 6. So it was like, it's not that hard to get to. It did make me realize how nice it is when we travel to a location.
Right.
And your regular life's not in the way.
Yes, that's the side effect. I mean, they're lucky that they showed up at 8.
Yeah.
Because if you were getting ready to go down there and it'd been like, you're just not home.
Yeah, 10 o'clock. It would have screwed everything up, right? If they would have showed up at 9:39 because of my drive down, that would have just screwed everything up on that side. But it definitely made me the appeal of going to an event helps. And if you ever come for VCF Southwest, I'm going to say maybe we just get a cheap hotel next door. I don't know. along those lines. You come down, I'll cover the hotel, and that way we're just there and we're not trying to go back and forth. I just really think that gets in the way, especially as you're going through everything there. I was thinking about being in Columbus, Ohio, and trying to get down to the event every day and get back every day, and how much easier it was for y'all and how many more things you probably did because you weren't worried about getting back. So Saturday was a bust. Sunday I went down, did the walkthrough at the end, saw another talk on DOS Basic, which I enjoyed. Oh, and you know what? I got done with both the talks, dude, and I'm just dumb. It's amazing how smart everyone is. I listened to them. It's like, remember the guy we listened to that was decompiling the kernels and he was talking about how that worked?
Yes.
Yeah, I kind of understood some of the things, but I walked out going, God, that guy's smart. And that's how I felt walking out of these panels, which is probably how you're supposed to feel, right? They're subject matter experts. They're supposed to be these people.
And hopefully you're taking away something from that panel to make you a little bit smarter too.
That's right.
Because they didn't just matrix into this. They actually were playing with it and doing this. And who knows how long they've actually spent to learn what they know.
And that's what I need to remember sometimes, because it is unbelievable, the knowledge that these people have. You know, as I wrap up the walkthrough, I got to see some of the exhibits that weren't completely ready, that were ready then.
Nice.
That was nice. You know what I mean? And, you know, I like to see the apples, and there were the apples here. So I like to see that. You know, and I like to see some of the Unix machines and stuff like that. You know, the MSIs and the PDPs, and there was that. So chatting with folks is really nice. And we have a pretty good YouTuber community that lives in Texas. So it was great to say hi to 8-Bit Guy, also his brother. Oh, Starship Arcade. Did I say that right? Electric Starship. Electric Starship had their own exhibit booth right beside 8-Bit Guy's booth, and they had a couple machines that you could play. So
that's kind of cool.
I got to talk with them about coming in and visiting, and you know, just like seeing hi to Usagi again and Sean, you know, things along those lines. So it's great to have our little community down here. Like, they show up to the little get-togethers that happen. They come by those also. So not only is it nice to see them, they have a great community of people that know them and have been part of their lives for years. So a lot of camaraderie is also, I can say, here at VCF Southwest, which I think that's probably all the VCFs. I'm going to go on a limb and say none of them are very commercial. I'd say they're all very camaraderie. But I'm going back next year, and I am going to do everything in my power to maybe either do something close by or really try and make sure I'm blocked out, whether I need Sarah to back me up at the house. You know what I mean? I think, I don't know, man. I just need to spend more time there. I need to spend more time at the meetups. I need to spend more time there. It was a really good experience. It did not let me down. I mean, even the UTD people were there. There's this UTD kid showing off some reading robot dog from like the 70s they'd been restoring. I mean, it's amazing, the projects. I think I could go on for hours, but I think if anybody listening was in the Dallas-Fort Worth area and wanted to see what this was about, next year, VCF Southwest, and you'll have a great time.
That's cool. I'm glad it's in your backyard, because I know when we come here for VCF East, we still have a 4 or 5 hour drive.
Yeah.
To get to it, not like an hour drive, which would be, or less, right? Which would be amazing. Did you find anything to buy? Were you thought about buying anything? I didn't get any text messages from you.
Dude, the Commodore Amiga angle was so slim. It was ridiculous.
Oh, that's fine.
It was really ridiculous. I was like, wow. Most of the exhibits, like the Amiga folks were there, the Amiga meetup group, and they had a great table set up. I think I sent you a picture of a 600. They had a 600 on display. So I told them that was really cute, told them about you restoring one. And there was some folks that had their Commodore stuff out. There was a young man that had his grandpa's 128 out and doing some displays with that. You know, really, it was more sightseeing. And actually, Ryan, I might need to just get a table next year. Maybe that would be great to make me be there and have some of my Hack Brew Commodore stuff on display, like my SX64 with a Commodore 64 keyboard. You know what I mean? Just have some odd things out there for people to see. That might be that would get me to be there too. That would be kind of nice.
It would. I mean, we'll have to see. Hopefully, they do not conflict with Origins
Oh,
and VCF Southwest like they did this year.
oh, I hope not, because I'm
It-
gonna go to Origins next year, bro.
right. So it's just
All right, world, we have a dilemma to be solved in another episode.
correct. I mean, it sounds like it was a great trip. This is the first time we talked about it, and was very excited. I wish, unfortunately, you had a little bit of a backyard concrete issue that made you miss a day. That's unfortunate.
Yeah,
But getting that work done is super good,
yes,
right? 'Cause I think is that where you're going to put the VW at some point?
Yeah. Next, I'm saving up for a nice big carport to go over it. And right now, I do have a shed to build that it'll park into. So I've got some steps to go over the next couple weeks. So fingers
Perfect.
crossed, it'll all come together.
You'll be fine. It'll look really good when you're done, and you'll get some space back out of your garage.
100%.
That's awesome. Well, it sounds like we both had awesome adventures.
Yeah.
And this is the Venn diagram from all of us. We just can't, as someone has said, you can't see it all, you can't buy it all, and you don't have enough time.
Yeah.
You just don't. And this is an example. We both just went off adventuring. I had a slightly bigger adventuring party, but you saw a lot of cool stuff, and you now have the initial scouting layout of that Southwest, which is awesome because we've wondered what it was like. I think this is only their third year they did that, right?
They came back. You're right. I think this is very much a comeback story that they had something and maybe it went away and now they're back again. So I'm going off of bad old memories. So I was really glad to see it. And it's going strong. It's getting bigger every year from what I see online.
That's excellent because I think a lot of these VCFs are growing as more and more people are having some fun with them and seeing what they are and being able to play with some of this hardware it's a great experience. Well, I think that's about all I have. Do you have anything else?
No, sir. Except for Larry, send the lawyers after me.
It'll be fine. Everything will be fine. Well, thank you all for coming along and listening to our adventures. And we'll see you the next time.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.